Okay, let me figure out. Where are you at? I have no idea.
Yes. I bet you can guess.
Hawaii. I'm gonna guess Hawaii.
No.
No.
Your son got engaged here.
At your Laguna home. It looks familiar.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that home yesterday, actually, because they're living in Florida now. And so we were just talking about that beautiful home of yours.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, no, this was a great place to definitely self quarantine for the first 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I can sweep the house, keep it clean all by myself. And I don't know about you guys, but I've never done so much dishes and laundry in my entire life. It was like every 2 hours, right? Wash the dishes, the poor dogs, I'm chasing the dogs. It's time to go for another walk. Every 3 hours is the dog walk. And then if you don't sweep your house, by like day 3, you have tumbleweeds of white fur just blowing up and down the hallway. So yeah, it's been and then also between Mara and myself, she does great laundry, but I do great folding. So I can fold a fitted sheet. So together we have each other fluff and fold. She's fluff and I'm fold. So
Okay, I'm gonna have to have you at my house then, because I am the worst folder, and I need someone to help me. You can teach me. Maybe you could do a class, do a YouTube class.
Yeah, for sure.
This is how you fold.
Yeah, actually caught me while I was folding the fitted sheet, and she goes, "Oh, come on, you can't do it." And so I started, and then halfway through, she goes, "Oh, do you mind if I video you?" And then she posted it on my on my Instagram.
Oh, I
so
love
there
it.
if you want to see, but it's halfway through. I really should start from the very beginning. I think
I love it.
I think it was beginner's
Yes. Those fitted sheets are horrendous. I can never figure those out. So I definitely am going to watch you on that one. I love it. Thank you so much, Angus, for being on.
Thank you, Tina. And then just to let you know, I was on my computer and then it got frozen. So now I'm on Mara's computer. And then if she happens to get that up, then I might switch over again.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
we got you.
Thank you for joining us. And
all right.
For those of you that don't know Angus Mitchell was born into the legacy of the late legendary hairstylist Paul Mitchell. As the son of a hair fashion icon, Angus's unique upbringing in the hair industry exposed him to the same passion that inspired his father, leading him to eventually fulfill his destiny in the first family of hair. He was educated at Vidal Sassoon. Angus has been able to combine their legendary precision technique with the free creative expression John Paul Mitchell Systems encourages to craft his own signature style. Angus currently is traveling the world for hair events on behalf of John Paul Mitchell Systems. He makes his home in Los Angeles, where he has forged his own professional identity as a platform artist and educator. Angus is also the model and spokesman for the men's line, Mitch. And we have Angus with us for the next hour, so welcome, Angus.
Thank you, guys. I got this new ring light, and it doesn't seem to be working. I look dark still. Do I?
No, you look great.
Okay, good. It's like looking into a mirror.
Perfect.
But I just want to start by saying I'm so proud of all of the future professionals that have really stuck to it. This has been a great time, I think, for all of you. In the end of the day, it's about collecting all of your hours. And I've always said, as a hair cutter, I think you will get your training in hair cutting when you're in a salon, when you're assisting in a different environment. Because right now, to really become the best is to really educate yourself on color, work on your blow drying skills, work on your dressing hair skills. I mean, if you ever wanted to become Noogie Thai, now's the time. I know that probably some of you probably thought in the beginning of this pandemic, I'll just work on a couple haircuts, probably started out with a one-length trim, and then started out with some square layers, and then some round layers, and then suddenly became a men's haircut, and then all of a sudden you're down to scissor over bone. For those of you that have your doll heads, the long hair, and have been able to work the long hair. That's really the magic, because end of the day, when you come out of beauty school, that's what the hairdressers and the hair salons are all looking for, are for future professionals who have graduated, who have really perfected the way that they're able to manipulate and work finishing hair, flat drying, flat ironing. So now is really the time to really kind of get that doll head, put it on that spindle, and get yourself a paper towel. Wait, paper towels are too valuable. Get a piece of paper, put it inside the doll head so it's not going to pop off that spindle, and really, really get that time to really manipulate and use both hands. Be able to use the blow dryer in the right and switch it to the left. Because these are the moments to be able to work on these things. It's being able to be to have the dexterity in your hands. So I really applaud all of you future professionals that have stuck with the program, and most importantly, I want to thank all of the learning leaders who have made it exciting and have worked so hard to work on the foundation and to make it fun for all of you. I mean, I really, really applaud a lot of the energy. I've been speaking to quite a few schools, and you know, the fact that you guys still get together via Skype and Zoom and still do your dances and still keep the morale up is just tremendous, tremendous. And I really, really want to say thank you. Thank you so much for all the hard work, because end of the day, it's tough enough teaching in the classroom and then separate the space, and then to keep that energy going. And no one does it better than our Paul Mitchell schools. So thank you, Tina and Sean.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I know Sean and I have been coaching a lot of salon owners, because many of them want to figure out what it's going to take to hire the future professionals across the nation. And so we have a course, as a 6-month course for anyone who wants to start, scale, or maintain their business. It's called Next Level Salon Leadership. And right now we're on fixing your hiring, right? And we have such an incredible company that we're privy to, and it's because of you, Angus, and we're so grateful to you, because you changed the course of our entire family's life. My daughter's in this business now. My son wants to be in the business, and it's just so incredible. I'm sure my grandkids will too eventually, but thinking about that, because I almost feel as if you fix your leadership, because you and John Paul have been able to maintain staff that never leave you. And that's just incredible to me. And that's my goal. I definitely am not there. And I know it's because of the culture that you've set up, and I know it's because of the leadership. And I think once those two things are in alignment, then the hiring will be fixed. But the book that we're reading right now is called Being a Talent Magnet, How to Be a Talent Magnet. And so I want to hear from you. And I know we have a lot of salon owners, we have learning leaders, future professionals on this as well, but we also have salon owners, and they want to be the John Paul and Angus Mitchell. So how do we be you? Help us.
Well, Tina, first of all, I can tell you that, you know, we are so proud of the fact that we had not laid anyone off, that we kept everyone's salary at full salary, and we kept everyone's benefit, and we paid for it out of our own pockets. We are very, very blessed that we are as big as we are. We operate as a very, very small company, and we are a small company. We have 350 people employed. And the fact that we have the first week of this pandemic, when we all kind of went underground, is when we began to work the hardest at JPMS. I don't know about you, but these Zoom meetings, at least it gave me a good reason to put some hair gel and put a nice shirt on. My first question was always, sweats or pants? Because that would tell me if you had to have a very serious meeting. Pants would always be serious. Sweats, you could still be casual. But we got right into the thick of things at Paul Mitchell, and really wanted to support our our salons, our customers, and the customers walking into the salons as well. So not only have we worked on stimulus packages, on various stimulus packages to help our salons open up their doors as we begin to open. We also started talking about the psyche of the customers walking into the salon. I mean, I constantly think of the poor person who was in Manhattan in a small studio apartment with a Murphy bed who had to be stuck in there for 8 weeks, 8 weeks. So helping our salon owners and stylists kind of think in another way to help accept and bring customers back in. And I'm really, really proud of the way that we were able to work quickly and really come out with that hand sanitizer, which I'm proud to say I went to the warehouse and John Paul and I met there. We worked and packed up some boxes to ship out, and I'm sad to say I was fired within the first half hour. Apparently I talked too much and I moved too slow. And I also realized that the hand sanitizer doesn't come just in the small bottles, they also come in bigger bottles. So I did walk away with a prize of bigger hand sanitizer from Paul Mitchell. But yes, I'm just, it's really quite amazing to be able to have two owners that just will do anything to support and follow through with the first, when my father and John Paul first started our business, it was to support the hairdressers. And I'm so proud of where we are since my father's passed and where we are today. We still stand strong for the hairdresser first and their businesses.
Yeah, and that's what I've really learned from you and John Paul, Angus. In fact, in our salons, because now we're opening up personally our 4th salon this next year, just in 5 years, which is so fun at their Paul Mitchell Focus salons. But what I learned from you was people before profit. And when I look at the different salons that Sean and I coach, what's happened, the reason why we've had to coach them is because they put profit before their people. And so we spend a lot of time just in that facet. Why did you get in this business in the first place? And I believe this crisis is truly going to separate the players from the pretenders. And I believe the players are the ones that are making plays, which you guys are. You're making plays to better everything, the whole industry, which I love about Paul Mitchell. You were the first ones to come out of the gates to do that. And we need to tell the whole world, what you guys are doing. And I just love that. But, where does that, and I know where it comes from because I know you personally, but share with everybody that's on this webinar. There's many people that are listening to the recording right now. The YouTube video, this is going out, is going to be viral. Share with them where that truly comes from and where your heart is, because I love being a part of the Paul Mitchell Network. It's nothing like you've ever experienced before. I left dentistry to do this. My husband left being a lawyer because of the love that you guys have. And so talk a little bit about that, where that comes from with you guys, and talk to salon owners and leaders out there, Angus, why it's so important to put your people first.
Tina, boy, you sure know how to ask the big questions. Really, it's part of our culture. And I think, when I think of the humble beginnings of where our company started, my father living in Waimanalo Beach, which was not a very fancy beach by any means. I would go visit my dad in the summertime. And I remember once he said, "Son, let's go buy you a bicycle." And we went to all these garage sales. And there was this one garage sale, had a 10-speed, a BMX bike, and a girl's bike. But the girl's bike was rusty, had a broken fender. It had one handle with the streamer, and the other handle didn't have a streamer. It had the banana seat, but the banana seat was half torn. And I said, "Oh, Dad, I want that BMX." He's like, "No, son, you're gonna get that girl's bike." I'm like, and he would always make me choose or give me the opportunity to choose, but he always had a reason for what I would end up having. And it was because in that neighborhood, everyone's bike would get stolen except for mine.
That's awesome.
So where I'm going with that is the humble piece and the mindfulness of who Paul was. He was just a very, very simple man, and so was John Paul. And together, you know, with their, when they started the business and they had a backer, the backer fell out, and whatever pennies and dollars they had left, $700 to gather together to create this company to where we are today, is incredible to me. After 3 years of being able to pay off all of their debts, my father's dream was then to create a carbon free imprint. And that was a self-sufficient farm. And that was in the early 80s when no one was thinking in that direction. We were building electric cars before people were even thinking about building electric cars. So I think it's just in the DNA of our company and of our leaders, John Paul, and then of course, and I'm proud to say myself as well. You know, I always say that there are leaders that lead with their heart, and that's who I am, and that's who John Paul is. And I think that's what makes our company so very, very unique, that when we sit down and we have a board meeting, there's only 7 people in our board. There's only 2 people in our shareholders meeting. So, you know, end of the day, you know, we are such a unique company that we can really put our money where it is, and we can make the promises and we can deliver. And so, you know, when it comes to supporting our employees, and like what has just happened with the pandemic and seeing all these companies laying off people, it was our investment from our pocket that kept that, and our decision together, that we can get through this. And we are. And we're seeing the other side right now. And we're sitting in the silver lining right now as the whole of America opens up. I know that our Paul Mitchell School, Joanne, she had just emailed me that the salons are all opening back in Hawaii. And so her school is about to open. And so our schools are opening. Our salons are opening. But we need to open with a very wise set of rules. Obviously, I think, you know, all of our beautiful future professional smiles, we need to cut out some smiles and paste them on top of our masks, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been telling all of the future professionals that it's time to start thinking about makeup a little bit more differently. We need to think about Cleopatra and just focus on those beautiful eyes of our, that we have, because we'll be smiling with them, and that'll be our focal point as we greet our guests when they walk in the door. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Angus, that's so cool. So what I'm hearing you say, and I know this because I know this company so well, and what we had decided as a salon team, that we were only going to hire what we call the ideal team player. So meaning, but we first had to be the ideal team player. And that is being humble, hungry, and smart. And that was taught to us by Patrick Lencioni. And I was in my mindset of like, oh my gosh, this is Paul Mitchell. This is what John Paul and Angus have done in this company. And that's what I love about the two of you. But you had to first become those people, but you already were, which was awesome, right? And so humble, obviously we know what that means. Hungry, obviously we know that that means that you love this industry so much, or whatever industry you're in, you love it so much that you will do anything. And I remember when this pandemic happened, I was like, I am willing to go bankrupt, whatever I have to do, but I will be back. And I will be back stronger, because this is who I am. And when I got into this business 21 plus years ago, I was like, this is my ministry. And when Paul Mitchell came into my life, I'm like, I'm in alignment. And so going back to the fixing your hiring piece, because I think as we move forward, Angus, that's going to be the biggest challenge, because we have to kind of make a decision. Who are we bringing back? Some of our companies had to lay off all of their people, right? In the salon world in particular, they had to. They didn't have a choice. And so they have to kind of make that decision and kind of reset, refocus their culture, their leadership. And a lot of them, we've been teaching these leadership classes to salon owners for years, Sean and I. And now all of a sudden they're jumping on. We have 20, 30 salon owners that are on these calls repeatedly, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna fix my foundation and my culture and my leadership. And Paul Mitchell, quite frankly, has set this bar years ago, and they're watching us and they're like, I want to be just like Paul Mitchell. And so to have you on is such a true honor. But kind of talk a little bit about that piece again. You know, what are salon owners, what do they need to do to set themselves up for success for this next generation that's coming into the salon business?
Tina,
it's a whole book, I know.
Well, first of all, you know, I need to thank all of the salon owners that have stayed with us and that do look at us as the leaders in this beauty business, because we are. And most importantly, you know, we stand beside you. We are walking this walk with you. We are supporting you in every which way we can. Obviously, we're still in the middle of this pandemic, and as we begin to learn more and open up more, education obviously is going to change quite a bit, but I think you guys have already established that through your schools and what you're doing now, Tina and Sean. But you need to choose what I believe is you need to choose a company that's going to support you. And I don't think there's any other company that is as strong as what we are and what we do. Within our corporate leadership, we have Luke, who is very hands-on. He's our president of our company. Jason Yates, and also John Paul's daughter, Michaeline, who is a fantastic young lady who is extremely smart, extremely bright. And, you know, of course, we have had a lot of products that we were going to launch this year. We had a lot of different things that we were going to do this year. We were about to celebrate our 40th. Huh?
40th.
40th, but it's 40th. Hey, listen, I'm turning 50 this year, and I don't even get to have a 50th birthday party. Oh man! But no, oh, okay. There's my other computer that's about to start up any minute now. Okay, you got that echo effect. Yeah, we were about to go to Vegas and launch our 40th celebration, but instead what we did is we took the $4 million that we were going to invest in Las Vegas for all of our customers, and we in turn reinvested that $4 million towards our stimulus package to help all of the salons as we all begin to reopen. And it's in services, it's in product, it's in color, and it's in ways to help, you know, to help you as a salon, that when your doors open, help create a game plan, because it's not going to just be a magical thing that when we throw our doors open, yes, we would like to think that there's going to be a line around the block, and yes, there probably will the first 6 weeks or a month, but what's the longevity of that's going to be during this pandemic, and how can we best help service you to get the most service dollars at the time when you first open up your door? So I think that's really, truly, also with Robert Cromines. I mean, right there we have a leader who is a salon owner who is feeling it the same as all of you. And he has quite a few salons, as I'm sure some of you do yourselves, but every salon is a different footprint. Some of you have a 2-chair or a 4-chair salon, but then how do you, you know, keep a, excuse me, when you have such a small footprint, then how do you do multiple services, right? Yeah. So that's the tricky part. And if you have a bigger footprint, does that necessarily mean that you're going to get more services that's going to be able to cover your rent? There's a lot to figure out here as we begin to move forward and slowly reopen and slowly tackle this virus. but it is reassuring as we kind of know that in the future that there is a vaccine that is being worked on right now. So that begins to bring hope, and that begins to bring confidence. And once that hope and confidence is established, and once that is distributed, then we're back into business as normal. But during this time, to find a company that will, stand with you shoulder to shoulder, I don't think there's any other company that you could feel proud of as we are at John Paul Mitchell Systems.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing you say, and this is what I've watched over the years, because the minute that COVID happened and the minute, this George Floyd situation happened, I watched my leaders. I watched you, I watched Wynn, I watched John Paul, and this is the time when leaders lead, through any type of crisis. And, boom, bam, boom, we're getting hit with crisis after crisis going on right now, Angus. And that's what I love about you guys. So leaders lead. So, this is not the time to be silent. This is the time. And I remember the first 2 weeks when this COVID hit, I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening to our world? But I came out of the gates being hopeful. I love that you said that we're hopeful and confident. And I know Sean will attest to this because Sean stood right by me, arm in arm, that we were hopeful and confident. And my salon team yesterday, they were in Florida with us on the boat, some of them, and they were like, you know what? I feel so confident going back into work that I know everything's going to be okay because you were on the forefront of every single minute of what we need to do to protect ourselves, because we're all about people before profit. But I can tell you, Angus, I coached on Zoom salon teams that the team didn't want to come back. It was like 2 out of 20 that wanted to come back. They were freaking out. They were having like these heart attacks. Have you seen that? When you have been out and about and listening to different salon owners, have you heard about that? And then I've heard about some salon stylists thinking, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and I'm like, you guys, this is not the time to sit down. Like, this is the time that you're going to really make out well. But I'm hearing all these crazy numbers of that 50% of salons are slated to be shut down by year end. Because they don't have a good business plan. I'm hearing crazy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't think that's going to happen with us. Like, I'm so excited about the future of the industry. And I watched it in my own Naples salon, and they're bringing in more money. They're charging what they're worth now. And I'm so proud of them, despite the mask of wearing the mask and being hot, once they get through that process, But talk a little bit about that process and the future of what you think this industry is, Angus.
Well, someone as dear to me and as close to me as Colin Caruso. What a great man to listen to. And if you haven't, then I would suggest that you go on YouTube and listen to him, or on his Instagram. He's just a very, very passionate, bright business owner, salon owner. And I have the utmost respect for him. And as we were talking, he said, yeah, everyone's enjoying getting their furlough, their unemployment checks. And so he's saying, God, it is tough. It's tough to bring them back in. But end of the day, there are going to be salons that will make it through, and these are going to be the salons that had a strong foundation to begin with. And there will be, it's just part of thinning the herd. And so, at a time like this, to be a salon owner, God bless you, and hang in there. And people will come back and they will want to work with you, because as hairdressers, we all decided to become hairdressers because we wanted to make people feel better. And what are we if we don't have that ability or that platform to be able to do that? I can tell you right now, I obviously don't do hair color, and my poor girlfriend, she's like, I bet you didn't realize that you were dating a brunette. And we're trying to get her hair to grow, so I haven't been doing any hair whatsoever, or my doll head is scissor over bone by now. I don't know.
Scissor over bone.
we all need that instant gratification. I need that instant gratification. I'll go find it somewhere, but I don't get it the same as I get it as when I'm working with a client or physically touching, or I should retract that, physically creating, just kind of careful with what you say these days. Physically creating a beautiful shape on someone's hair. I just miss the hair shows, you know? I mean, I'm just thinking, oh my God, when are we gonna get to be able to get out there again and be able to be in front of the hairdresser again? I mean, obviously things have changed. I think it's a lot stronger now where we can actually get out to more hairdressers and be able to give more education that would actually live longer this way, and probably be a lot more powerful with the way that we invest our monies moving forward. But there will be a time that we will all gather again, be at a hair show, and be at a Paul Mitchell gathering in Las Vegas, and hopefully celebrate our 41st.
Yeah, there you go, 41st. Now you got it. I love it. I know we're giving away our age now.
Well, October 16, I'm just putting it out there. That's my big 50. So I might just have to celebrate my big 51st. My poor mother, I've been telling her and everyone around me for 5 years, I'm turning 50, I'm turning 50. My mom's like, would you stop already? I'm too young to have a 50-year-old son, and you're not even 50, you're 45. So yes, you know, I'm kind of a little disappointed, but that's okay.
Oh, I love this so much. That's so amazing. So, okay, something else that I heard you say, because I know this about Paul and I know this about John Paul, and I know that it's part of your DNA too, because what's most important as we move forward as leaders, because leaders lead, is that you have to see more and more before your people. And it's something I've been talking about with my teams and my leaders. Like, we have to be able to strategize farther ahead, you know, plan A, B, C, and D. And it's so important to align yourself with all the right people to be able to make that happen. And that's why I'm so blessed to have all of you as partners, because you all help me so much. And that's why Sean and I started these webinars. That's why we started online masterminds, to do that. So what helps you to keep, you know, looking out further ahead, and kind of talk to that salon owner right now of why they need to constantly be ahead of their team? Otherwise, you know, again, how you're going to keep your people is if you're not staying ahead and ahead of every area, right? Communication, leadership, everything. If you're not staying ahead, they are going to leave you. And so, and this is what we've seen, salon walkouts happening, and they're happening now as we speak. People are leaving and saying, you know what, I don't want to work there. I want to work somewhere else. And then I'm seeing salon owners really mad at them. And it's like, wait a minute, look in the mirror, just change your leadership, change how you lead, you know, because leaders lead. So talk through that process, because again, you guys have kept your staff forever. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well too, because no one leaves the company Paul Mitchell, which I think is incredible. So talk a little bit more about that, and talk to that leader of why they need to stay ahead of their people.
Look, Tina, you're making us sound like we're like the mob or something. Someone's shoes. You know, Tina, I had a salon too, and I had experienced a walkout, and you know, yes, it does sting, but you know, end of the day, there's walkouts happen for a reason, and we need to quickly learn how to be quick on our feet. And as I tell you about our company, Paul Mitchell, we as a large corporate company still react small. As a salon, you still need to react small, because it's your reputation. So just because you have a walkout, does that mean that you should sit there and get pissed off and throw up your hands? Absolutely not. It's time to survive. And that means it's time to, you know, look at what you are managing and what you need to manage financially, and be able to keep as many of your clients as possible. And that's through being in touch and making sure that the clients know that that it is your name on the salon, that it's your services, it's your care. It's who you are and what you're able to provide for those individual clients, not so much the hairdresser that had decided to walk away. I think Robert Cromeans is a fantastic leader in the way of having himself just recently as well, having people leave, but just as many people who are leaving are just as many people that are coming in as well. You know, I think now too is a great time for us to be able to look at the people that really didn't believe in our business and they were just hanging around and probably were just kind of not really working anyway. You know, nothing wrong with hanging out in the staff room, but nothing worse than watching someone hang out in the staff room either.
The broke room, yeah.
The broke room. I'm not gonna lie, when I first got out of beauty school, I thought I really liked folding towels in there. It was a great job.
You got good at folding, I see.
Yeah. Hey, no one folded foils or towels better than me, I'll tell you. But no, I mean, end of the day, you know, we are in a survival mode. And you know, I've been on the phone with our German distributor, with our Swiss distributor. They have been telling us that when the salons open, salon stylists have been getting huge tips, anything from $50 to $100. So, you know, there are people that are just so excited to be able to get out, get back into a chair, and to reward, because we've all been cooped up. I mean, yes, what's going on right now with the protests, people have been, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of energy out there that all of a sudden the doors are open, but then there's so much unrest. It's just a recipe for all of this explosion of different emotion. But end of the day, the most positive place to be is in our salons and in our chairs, feeling beautiful again. Look at me, I got this Joe Dirt thing going on here. I never thought I would have pigtails in my entire life, but now I got pigtails.
I love it. You look good.
I just recently shaved. I was doing my own coronavirus beard challenge, but I realized it was just by myself. Everybody else had been shaving. And just to let you know, I am a quarter Filipino, so it grows kind of like a catfish. I had my hair literally like 1.5 inches long, and it didn't matter how much hair care product I put in it. And it just kept sticking out. And all they keep saying is, don't touch your face, right? Don't touch your face. I'm like, gosh, I better shave, because all I can do is just keep touching.
Keep touching her face. Yeah, I love it. We have a brand new salon owner, and I believe she's one of our brand new salon owners. And we also have future professionals and learning leaders on this as well too. And this is actually a very common question, because Sean and I are coaching salon owners, but we also have salon leaders, people that work in the salons, you know, obviously, but a lot of them are Paul Mitchell salons. And so Sean and I, we actually started this Next Level Salon Leadership because we knew that a lot of the salons were missing the culture that the Paul Mitchell schools had. And so what we started was a leadership team within our school. So that's going to be magnified throughout all the Paul Mitchell School network over the next couple of years, which I'm excited about, because we're trying to raise up the future generation of leaders, but also teach them leadership tools, how to speak up, how to lead, and how to help set those culture tones in your salon business. Because I believe truly that culture eats strategy for lunch. And I think most salon owners are all focused on marketing strategies, any type of gimmick to be able to make their businesses run. But in all reality, they need to learn from John, Paul, and Angus and of the fact that they need to start setting the tone of having culture set in their salon. So I'll continue to talk, Sean, and you and I until he gets on. But so Jade, I love your question, because you said, how would you recommend approaching leadership who is representing and partially owned and supported by JPMS but it's not leading with the Paul Mitchell culture. And that is learning how to lead up. And so there's a great book called 360-Degree Leadership by John Maxwell. And that's just to be able to speak up. Hey, I see the challenges that you're having. I would love to be part of the solution. What do you think about bringing in the Be Nice or Else book into the school? And I could help you set up culture. And I tell our future professionals across the nation, when you're in our school, pay attention to things that you're not actually learning in the school. And that is, look at our posters on the wall. It's all of our culture. And so if salon owners don't have anything in writing about their culture, you can help write that culture systems, right? You can start helping them to write them. So Sean, kind of talk about that process, because the salon owners that we coach, not one of them have a written system when we first starting that. They're like, oh, I don't know. You have to be on time. Talk about that, what that looks like.
It's kind of one of those things that you can't hold people accountable to what's not written down. So it's great to have that conversation that, we're on time here. We believe in people first, and we put our guests first. And okay, so as Tina and I kind of talk through that with them, they're like, well, I think they know that. We talked about it when they hired in, but unless it's something that you continually revisit, we talk about the foundation being that vision and mission, and can your team recite that? Do they know what you stand for? Do they know the vision? Do they know where you're going? Do you want to have one salon? Do you want to have multiple salons? What's your plan? And can your team really recite that is what we talk about. But it starts with having that written system, those written expectations, because you can't hold people to what they don't know. And if you're clear and concise right from the get-go with this is what we expect, this is how we hold each other accountable, this is how we do business, and everything down to how the trash can should look at the end of the day. It's all part of your business and your culture.
Yeah, I love it. And Jade offered to become the culture ambassador in your salon. So what we did is and I couldn't believe I didn't see it before, Sean, when we started our salons, is I was like, okay, we have all this culture, but we need to have somebody that actually helps to hold people accountable to the culture. And it can't be me as the owner. It needs to be somebody that's in the trenches as one of the leaders, right? And so in our schools, it's our Be Nice or Else leader, it's our leader, Be Nice or Else team. And I always tell the future professionals, like, this is your opportunity to lead. So lead. And so that's why we started the leadership team, because we realized there was kind of a disconnect between the Be Nice or Else team and how to lead. And so we're like, okay, this is how you lead. This is how you become a leader. And so the culture ambassador could actually be the one to set the tone for the culture that's within your salon as well too. So I think, Jade, to answer your question, have your leaders come be part of some of these webinars, have them join Sean and my webinars that we're doing, and say, hey, I just took this great webinar, Angus Mitchell spoke on it. You need to be a part of that with us as well too. So thanks, Lynn, for what you said too. So Angus, we got you back. I love it. So you need to unmute yourself, and kind of going back to, as we, as we're kind of like helping the salon owners, like, how do I set up culture within my salon? So what advice do you give salon owners how to fix their culture and to reset, refocus their culture? What advice would you give?
I think really, let's see. I got to change my head from losing the battery and getting.
Oh, we've done it a million times, haven't we, Sean? And my internet just went out about 30 minutes ago. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we will find a way. If I have to go over to the neighbors, I am going to knock on their door and say, we are getting on this web.
So happy to be back, everybody. And, first it's the people and it's the leadership. So, you just need to listen. You need to listen to what you want and need as well. And
yeah,
so,
I love that you said about listening, Angus, because the minute that we had this crisis hit and I heard Robert Croming speak, and I was like, okay, I've got to enlist my team. I cannot lead from the head down. I've got to enlist my team and let them come up with ideas. So we immediately formed 3 groups. One was the sanitation group. So they set our new sanitation protocol. The next one was the Create Magic group, which set up really great systems on extraordinary service. And then the last one was the grand opening team. So that team set the standard for how are we going to welcome our guests back and also our team, right? And so what does that look like? Because I can tell you this, our team, the first 2 weeks in Naples, Florida, it was hard. Like they were hot because they had these masks on, you know, and they were hot and they were stressed out, you know, like, and they didn't know how their clients were going to respond to them. And so what I heard you say, and I love that you said, listen, because that's all you have to do. Just keep asking questions. You're so good at that, Angus. Talk through that process, because that's something I love about you. You're a great listener. So talk through that process, why a leader needs to become a great listener and what that looks like.
And obviously it's you have to be able to communicate, and how can you communicate if you don't listen? And you know, everything around us, as we begin to open up our doors and to be sanitary, to be able to bring people in, what does that look like? And what does that look like to having your customer come in and be comfortable? Does it look like a mask? Does it look like a mask and a shield? How far are we going? When you talk about masks, well, there's different kinds of masks. So, you know, there's the surgical mask, which is not as hot. It's thinner. So it's a little easier to be able to work with it all day. If it's a beautiful mask like my friend Alana Hamoy has made, it's a little thicker material. So it's going to be a little heavier and a little more uncomfortable, but we need to be able to prep ourselves and set ourselves up to win, to be able to be comfortable, to work all day and make our customers feel safe. And wiping down each station. What does that look like between each client as well? I was talking to my friend Cristiano, who's an incredible educator, who's a salon owner in Brooklyn and in Manhattan. So we were saying, so what does that look like when we begin to educate, or when you're cutting a client's hair? Are we wearing gloves when we're cutting hair? Or, you know, how realistic is that? And does that mean that we wash our hands in front of our clients, between each client? It's more realistic that as a hair cutter, when it comes to cutting hair, that we wash our hands in front of each client. As a colorist, you were born wearing rubber gloves. You got it easy, you're on easy street. You know, but yeah, it's really that piece of, as we begin to work moving forward, reopening our doors, finding our feet. Again, this is temporary, but is it temporary? I think this has really kind of set a whole new standard. And what I truly wish is, as a global, or as a salon system, you know, as salons have, not salons, as restaurants have a grading system, A, B, and C, is what salons should have. We should have a COVID certificate as to how our grading system is, to how sanitary, or how to sanitize and work our business. But we're not even there yet. That's what's scary to me. So as a salon owner, you want to be overly protective of that part of your business, because that's what's going to get people to find you and want to go and be with you. You might end up finding yourself being a lot more successful coming out through this on the other end in 2021.
Yeah, that's so good. That's what we've heard from our salon team. They said that our clients are coming in and saying, wow, you guys are doing so much more than everybody else around here, and we feel really great about coming in here. And so you're right, and they're going to notice. Our clients are going to notice, and I love that you said that. And one of the salon owners on here said, we need to future-proof our business. And I believe this is the new normal as well. And in my head, I left dentistry. I don't know if you know this, to come into this industry. And I feel like I was born for such a time as this, because that's how we cleaned, you know, exactly how we're cleaning now. And I'm like, why weren't we doing this before, you know? And so I'm really excited about this. And my staff calls it, is it Tina clean? If it's not Tina clean, it's not clean. And something I love about you, Angus, because you are so humble and you're such a servant leader. And that's something that I work daily on, being a servant leader, and it just comes natural for you. And something I love the story of just the fact that you became the CEO of every position you had, and the fact that you were the best towel folder there was. I remember you told us the story about cleaning the floor with a toothbrush in your first salon. Tell that story, because tell people they need to be the CEO of their position. I think that's the most important facet. And as a salon owner, are we training our people to be the CEO of their position as well?
You know, I think as an assistant, which is when I'm talking to all of the as I'm talking to all of the future professionals, you're going to get your training when you come into a salon, because you will learn their system. The salon's cutting system, the salon's color system, the salon's pace per client. And so no matter how difficult it may seem, when a salon owner or a manager asks you to do certain tasks, you need to be aware, because these are the foundation or the foundational skills that you're going to look for when and if you want to open up a salon, or when you train another assistant that comes in who wants to have a chair in that salon. So my favorite story is I was working for Vidal Sassoon, and I was an assistant there, and we had a slow day, so I had everything all prepped. I had done all of the dishes in the salon staff room, and had everything wiped down around the shampoo area, towels folded, foils folded, and then the manager walked by and said, "Angus, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing, sir, I've done it all." Grabs me by my wrist, wrenches me around with the white glove test, and then says, "Listen, we don't pay you $2.75 an hour to stand around and do nothing." So walks inside the staff room, comes out with a little Tupperware of soapy water, and it wasn't a toothbrush, it was a nail brush. Me in front of the reception desk, and said, "Get on your hands and knees and start scrubbing scrubbing the grout between the tile." And I said, "Well, no, sir, I do realize there is a nighttime crew that comes in and cleans the salon. Don't you talk back to me. You get down on your hands and knees and you start scrubbing." So they played great music. People would come in, and I'm talking to the people, and I'm smiling, and I'm doing a little shimmy to whatever music's playing. An hour later, he comes back, grabs me by my shoulders and shakes me and says, "What is it with you? Why is there always a smile on your face?" I said, "Because I feel like Cinderella. There's a light at the end of my tunnel." And, you know, end of the day, what did it teach me? It taught me quite a bit. It taught me a lot about what is important, because it taught me about expectations. I have an expectation for my staff to always make sure that my salon is in tip-top shape. If I'm standing around doing nothing, what am I going to do or think that I need to do without someone telling me what to do, to go over and above? And especially today,
yes,
when we can't just leave our sandwich in the staff room half open, because that place needs to be super sano. We need to really be over and above everything with our clients as they walk in and as they walk out. When their hair color is sitting on their head and it's processing, where are they sitting? And how are we going to maximize the next client who's going to come in? You know, where are they sitting? Are they outside in their car waiting for their hair color to process? And then what is my salon staff or assistant, what are they doing to help prep the space so that I can be efficient with being able to do as many clients within the restrictions, right? Because that's, and what we're really talking about.
Yep.
And that's for us to survive, to get through to where we need to get through, which is next year, so we can get a vaccine, so we can get back to business the way that we know business.
Yep.
So.
That's so good, Angus. So it's so funny because when the why is big, the how gets easy. So I don't know about you, but I used to walk into my schools and salons and be like, why can't they be cleaner? And now all of a sudden that people are like, I don't want to get COVID. They know how to clean, right? And so I think there's a leadership lesson in this. Like, okay, great. So now we know how to clean because the why just got super big, right? But could you imagine if we could all police ourselves in standards and behavior that's expected of us, and how we could take our businesses to the next level? And something that you said earlier, and I think this is so awesome because Sean and I are talking about this in our companies right now, is carrying more hats than just one hat. And that's something you guys are lean, mean, and strong, which not mean, nice, and strong. And that is 350 people running your company, but they carry more hats. And I think that's one of the challenges that salon owners are having. I think a lot of their team members are bored. I think they want more to do. We proved it in the Paul Mitchell schools that you don't have to just learn from one textbook, but we have like 85 apps. I might be exaggerating here, but it seems like it. And that people are more capable of learning so much more than you can imagine. People are more capable of doing more than they can imagine. Like, let's keep our people busy and serving and doing. Let's give them more hats to do. And it's also called, job security as well, too, through that process. Talk through that process to salon owners, why they need to help them to be, I think the first 90 days is imperative with a team member. And it's something we have failed like more times than I want to admit, is like, that's the time to really pour into them. Do you have a team member that helps you with that process to pour into them? Because that should be the time that you really set the standard of these are our expectations as well too. But talk about that process of more hats, Angus, and to the salon owner of what they could do to up level their business as they move forward.
Well, depends on how big the salon is, correct? I mean, reality is there are not a lot of flagship salons. Reality is there's a salon with 6 chairs to 8 chairs. That's a big salon today. That's also a successful footprint, by the way. Those big salons are very, very difficult to manage. And then how many people are you hiring in the beginning that you need to put those 90 days into? So really the one that wears the many hats is the salon owner, to be quite frank, or the salon owner who has hired a manager so that he can go or she can go to work and stay working, because usually it's the salon owner who's the one who's got the most clientele that's paying for the rent to keep the salon open. Yep. So sometimes we may have a manager, if we're lucky enough to be able to have that. I don't quite know what the reality is today. I'm sure it's just the salon owner who has to wear those multiple hats. But yeah, to be able to put those first 90 days, I mean, it's what I think I just spoke about. It's the expectation of what we went through to know what we want and what we need in our salon to be successful. When you listen to Robert, it's about take home. It's about being able to, if you're getting a future professional who comes out of school with a fantastic score of a great take home or retail, that's half the battle, really. You know, and being able to set a standard. Well, today is a complete different world of setting a standard. We have no choice but to have a standard. And so I think we are already there for sure.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Angus, I cannot thank you enough for being on this call today with us. You're absolutely amazing. What last piece of advice do you want to give all salon owners that you feel like you haven't said?
Well, Tina, you are so good at pulling the best out of me, I'll tell you. But no, I think end of the day, I just want everyone to know salon owners, future professionals, and learning leaders, stylists, that at Paul Mitchell, you have the best partner. We consider yourselves your partner, and we are here for you during the worst of times and during the best of times. The best of times are coming. We have already worked through the worst of times. Obviously, there's a movement right now. There's a voice out there that needs to be heard, and it's being heard. But as we begin to let the energy out and hear the frustrations of people, then this pandemic has a silver lining. We already know that there's a vaccine coming. So again, going back to confidence in people coming back into our salons, being able to run our salons the way that we used to, but in a different way moving forward with more sanitation and cleanliness. I want you to know that at Paul Mitchell, you have found such a great partner that we will help you through all of this. And when we get through the other side, we will celebrate, and we will do the biggest party in Las Vegas that our company has ever thrown. And just know that we love you, we are here for you, and we feel so blessed to have you as part of our Paul Mitchell family. And with all my love and all my aloha, God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Angus. We love you too. Thanks for all that you guys are doing. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks, Angus. Thank you, everybody.
See you next Monday, everyone.